This is a See It Played video. The game is the Marshals, Volume 1, Junot and Soult in Portugal. The scenario is Junot 1808, and I'm picking up here with the Anglo-Allied operation. So what I'm doing with this play of the Marshals is I'm actually recording a game where I'm playing each side as realistically as possible, as I would in a face-to-face game. And the way I'm doing that is that I'm taking a break, several days break between playing each side. Everything is hidden, or I should say all important information is hidden, and I even have the off-map order of battle displays covered up between plays, and it's working better than I thought it was going to. So yeah, leaving several days break in between playing the Anglo-Allied side or the French side is actually working out quite well, because with the breaks in between, I am forgetting a lot of the details. I may remember some of the general developments in the game, but a lot of the particulars I don't recall when I sit down to play a side. So I have a green marker left on on the board, which I think is telling me it's the Anglo-Allied side. We are still on the 16th of August. Now obviously, okay, so you play with your forces inverted so that only the side indicator is showing up. So now I'm going to actually record my my review of the situation, review of the Anglo-Allied side first, and then pick up with whatever needs to be done for this operation. And there's going to be a lot of review here. Review for me, and review to as well put what's going on here in context. So the game sequence, which is a turn sequence, okay. Phase A is initiative, phase B is events, okay. So events, well, I'll finish the sequence. Phase C is operations, and phase D is administrative. So we are in phase C. We're doing the alternating activations of stacks. Okay. Yes. Okay, obviously the Anglo-Allied have only one stack. I remember consolidating. I remember making the decision to consolidate the Anglo-Allied army. And it is inverted. From the Anglo-Allied player's perspective, the A for activated, I guess, is inverted. So if it were upright, the stack would still be available for activation, but it is already inverted, reminding me that this entire stack, and so therefore the entire Anglo-Allied army, has already activated. So for example, this French stack, the A is inverted from the French player's perspective. So that's already activated, but this one is upright from the French player's perspective. So this stack is still, okay, so actually that's what I need to review as well. Of course, I hope I don't have any mistakes here, but I don't remember this whole entire situation, so I'm not looking at the contents of the stack here. But this stack is, I guess, still available. So is, oops. So this stack over here in the mountains is also available for activation. And then this one, of course, which I guess didn't make it to Torres Vedras. Because that's not really, doesn't seem like a very ideal position right there. But okay, the fleet, English fleet, is still in Peniche up here. So I remember that the fleet only moves at the start of the first operation of the turn if the Anglo-Allied player decides. I also remember, I remember the victory points that if this turn ends, so the Anglo-Allies are done operations-wise, but if the French don't attack, then the Anglo-Allied side will get a victory point. Okay, so continuing to look at the theater of operations here, Portugal. French, of course, still have a force in Lisbon. I think I remember some reason the French don't want to. Oh, right, if the French uncover Lisbon, it's considered Anglo-Allied controlled. So the French will leave something in Lisbon. So right now, the Anglo-Allied army here consolidated, isn't doing that bad, right? They have 2 lines of communication back to Peniche and the fleet. They have, the way south is wide open right now. That stack's already activated. So to get in their way, this stack would have to two marches to Torres Vedras, but the Vimero route would still be open. Yeah. To really block the Anglo-Allied army here, the French could get a force here and here. That would force the Anglo-Allies to either attack to try to break through or go inland through the mountains. But I just noticed here from the Anglo-Allied perspective also from the French perspective of defending, we have the 3 bridges here. So I do need to remember that I think if a French force, if a French force is here, and an Allied army marches across and does battle, I think having the bridge to your back from the Anglo-Allied perspective, I think that they would be marked with a, where is it? They would be marked with a, oh, there it is. I think they would be marked with a river to the rear marker. Yeah, so a back to the river marker does indicate units that have just crossed a stream or river and that have entered a zone occupied by an opposing stack. And then I see that there is a combat modifier. A penalty, it looks like. Okay, so as I indicated before, I have the player order of battle areas covered up between plays. So uncovering the Anglo-Allied order of battle area. Obviously, the entire army is consolidated, but I do want to remind myself what we have. We have the 6 brigades broken up into 3 units, 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th. And they are all have taken no losses. I need to get a pen for marking these, erasable pen. Then we have the British cavalry there, Portuguese infantry, Portuguese cavalry, 3 artillery, and baggage trains. Okay, and then this is the event marker. Just to review, so I have the initiative marker. I still have to figure out how I can actually exploit this. There might be a possibility when I need to dash through and get around or get past the French heading south. So use that at the start of the turn. Okay, on any turn after initiative is determined, if the Anglo-Allies lose the initiative, we can use this. You can play this event marker to get the initiative. Actually, as well, if on a turn the Anglo-Allies get the initiative and the French play their initiative event chit to seize the initiative, we can play this one to get it back. So actually, this is going to be, in general, more valuable the farther we go in the campaign. Certainly not relevant this first turn, and we'll even see about the second turn. This is the general pile of Anglo-Allied event chits. I guess I probably should cover those too. But anyways, so that's just review. Significant amount of combat power. I've consolidated, but now really I need to figure out how I want to disperse again, which, by the way, if this game, which is what it's looking like, well, hang on. So it's starting to look like the designer has captured some, in some interesting ways, has captured the some of the aspects of Napoleonic operational warfare as far as the importance of effectively dispersing and then concentrating again for battle or otherwise as necessary. Because, for example, this large, well, this is what I'm getting at. It would be great to just leave this stack as a kind of super stack, right? But I can't really move. If I try to move this entire stack as one force, it's going to take so much extra fatigue, and it's going to take so much fatigue that it's going to result in real strength losses to my main infantry, well, yeah, my infantry formations. Bottom line is I've consolidated here, but now I have to disperse again, because to move as this one huge force is, well, it's extremely ineffective to say the least. So yeah, again, if this is if this continues in the way that it seems like it has started, understanding how to disperse and then how to effectively concentrate at the right time and hopefully catch your opponent still dispersed, then this is going to be very interesting. Okay, I got to figure out what the Anglo-Allies do now. We have all activated land forces. The English fleet obviously has nothing to do at this point in this operation phase. Okay. Some more review and Uh, yeah, I guess some more review. Okay, so the game basically is about marching and combat. So none of the Anglo-Allied units can move or march. Now, interesting in this game, I don't know if, and by the way, I've played essentially almost no Napoleonic campaign games before, so maybe this is standard at this scale. I don't know. But I find it interesting that initiating combat is not an activation. So I'm thinking, so because combat is not an activation, that much is spelled out black and white. And two, it's spelled out black and white. Opposing stacks can cohabitate. Cute little translation there, but opposing stacks can occupy the same area at the same time. So putting that together, I'm assuming that if the French were in the area, the Anglo-Allies could still conduct combat, which would be interesting. But because the French aren't there and they can't march, then they're essentially done. So it says here, if a camp, if a side has activated all of its stacks and can initiate combat, then it must pass. Okay, so that much tells me, yeah, Anglo-Allies, okay, we must pass, and passing is just passing. There's nothing more to it than that. So they are just done. There aren't any. I was checking real quickly to see whether there aren't like other types of activities to consider executing, but I don't think that's the case. I think they're done. So this ends the Anglo-Allied operations opportunity. The French obviously still have stacks to activate and incentive to conduct combat.